with Jet being out, the battle was on between Cooper and Chase. Now, I don't. If Chase would have cleaned up the mistakes, Chase was clearly faster than Cooper. I think Cooper knew this race that Chase was better. I think Cooper was struggling, and you can tell um, Cooper wasn't Cooper. Like he was kind of holding on to this victory, and because Cooper Webb, his mindset, and because it is Chase Sexton, and he's had success against Chase, and he saw Chase making the mistakes, and Chase stalling a motorcycle that he knew that even though Chase is faster, I don't think Chase really fully believes that he's faster and that it's becoming a lot. It's actually hard for Chase to go that fast when it probably shouldn't be. Um, I don't think if Chase would have cleaned up mistakes, he would have won clearly. And I think the reason I say that is because when you watch Cooper, there was really no like there was no games. Like when you watch Cooper, the way he beat Chase at Tampa last year, like Cooper could make up time. Like he was going around the racetrack, he was changing his lines, and it looked easy for him to do it. Almost looked like when you watch Jet, like it was easy for Cooper to make up time when he felt like in Tampa. Well, this one, Cooper was hanging on. Like he was hanging on. Like as sometimes like being in front, this is where it hurts you. Where you're in Chase's situation, Chase is only going off of like past history. Chase knows Cooper's strong, and if I allow him to be here, especially with 5 minutes left, like he's probably gonna get me. So his mindset is like I need to get away from him and try to break him because I am like Chase knew he was faster, but he didn't know if Cooper was kind of playing the game or was Cooper Webb, unlike Cooper Webb has been in the past, that once he decides to go fast, he's going to make that pass and charge. He didn't understand that Cooper was like one corner from basically kind of giving up and just taking a second place. And that's what sucks when you're in front because Chase can't see that. All he knows is past history and how he feels. So he kept making mistakes, but he didn't see Cooper making those mistakes. And when you're watching Cooper, like he was kind of, as I was saying with Jet Lawrence, didn't have the fear of making like having the bike bottom out. I saw Cooper Webb struggling on making sure like he was just getting through the rhythm section, and he was as Chase. If Chase got like a clean lap, Cooper was just hoping that he would make a mistake, and all that you can tell that the way he was riding. Cooper wasn't even on the motorcycle. He didn't look the same on the motorcycle. It looked like a guy who had an arm pump. But because he's able to beat Chase and because he was able to see Chase make those mistakes, Cooper knew mentally that I'm still in this because Chase believes like I'm playing around or I'm still here. And normally Chase would have probably, if he was comfortable and if he knew how I was feeling, Chase would have just ran off. Chase would have just said like, I'll just put 2 laps in. I would have broke Cooper. But because he didn't do that, Cooper hung around, and he was able to get him. But it was the first time I seen Cooper Webb ever win a race uncomfortable, right? Like when you going back to Tampa, like he looked comfortable. Like he's speed wise, it's always been the same. The guy's usually faster than him. Guy's always faster than him during the day, but when it comes to the main event, Cooper's the strongest and he looks well put together. Where this race, it looked like Cooper was struggling. Like he didn't find the Cooper Webb flow. He looked like he did in practice, where maybe a day he's off, but somehow he was able to win that race. And there was no games being played. There was like Cooper knew, you know what? Like Chase allowed me to win this race in a sense. Like Chase was faster. Chase stalled the motorcycle. And yeah, I put the pressure on. And because of past history, Chase was thinking about me. But in reality, like I was barely, like I'm hanging on. Like I can barely hold on to the motorcycle. And I was able to win that race. But I wasn't even the best guy at this, where the other races like Tampa, I think Cooper knew once that main event came, and he got through those first few laps and he saw Chase or whoever it was not, yard pulling away from him, like he knew at the end of the race he was going to win. I don't think at any point of that race Cooper thought he was going to win that race. Like I think Cooper was like hanging on. He's like, I'm still here. I can't even hold on. Chase stalled it. Oh my gosh. I got 3 seconds. Half a lap later, Chase is back on me. Like he was kind of waiting and it just never did. And then once you get to the last lap, anything goes at that point and you're trying to hold on. But it was cool to watch Cooper win a race like that, and and watching Chase this is where I say he's not back, and you can tell he doesn't fully believe on the speed, is because Chase wasn't even mad that he didn't win that race. Like Chase knew he kind of gave that away, but if you listen to his interview, he was happy that he's getting better, and he was happy that he was able to be up front and lead laps, and that's hard to, like, if he didn't think that way, he would have won that race. Like if Chase Sexton had that mindset where he knew he was fast and everything, let's say he did this for like 3 or 4 weeks and he got put back in the same situation, Chase would have won that race because he would have been there, done that, and he'd have crossed that bridge where Chase hasn't been able to do that all year long. So as Chase was there, he didn't fully believe that he can actually win the race because he hasn't been up there, and he knows Cooper Webb. And I think that allowed, that's why when Chase got off the track, they shook hands. And got, for two guys that had bad history, that was strange, by the way. But that's why Chase got on the podium and he was happy. Like, yeah, he knew he threw it away. And yeah, like he wanted to win, but he wasn't mad. And that was because he's still building confidence because he's not there yet. And Cooper Webb got on the podium. He said it was morning wood kind of arm pump. But even him, in the past, he would have been like, yeah, I knew if I just needed to be there, I was gonna win. But Cooper, he gave Chase props. Like, yeah, I might have got lucky on that one. Like, yeah, I got lucky. And Cooper Webb's the type of person that, yeah, he wants to win and he'll be aggressive, but he's not a cheater. And meaning in the sense, if the guy's better than him, he would acknowledge that, just like he did this weekend. They got off the podium, they got off the track, they shook hands. Cooper acknowledges that, hey, you gave me one, like you were better. Where in the past, I think Cooper probably would have been like, like, yeah, last time they were there, he gave him a bird. So it was just interesting to watch those two guys racing in two different spots in their career. I think Cooper's riding the best he has all his whole career. I think Chase is more consistent than he has his whole career, but he's not as fast as he has been. And so it's cool watching them being so close together and finish that race off, but in two different spots or where they're at mentally. And I think because of Jet Lawrence being so dominant and because of some of the issues that happen, some of the controversies that Jet has caused, it makes guys like Cooper Webb and Chase Sexton actually somewhat team up with each other. And instead of being like, I'm just worried about beating him, like I'm trying to beat you, I don't like you. I think both of those guys, like when they would race almost as teammates. Like they would race not trying to slow each other down, because the last person they want to win is Jet Lawrence. They rather the other guy win than having Jet Lawrence, and that's the kind of the way they race. And that's why when they got off at the end, they shook hands, and it's kind of, that was all caused by the way Jet has been somewhat so dominant, so much hype, and then some of the controversies, the baby gift, the Anderson stuff, that it makes all the guys in the field somewhat go against this kid because he is that good and they know he's that good. And yet sometimes, like when the guy's that much better, you got to use a team of people to end up slowing him down and beating him that way instead of just one individual. So, but it was cool to see those guys have respect. I think there was more worried about just trying to win the race and trying to stop this kid from being so mentally dominant that they put their issues aside, and that's what you saw this weekend.